Hey Lobos, Ben Johnson here to record this week's High Tech Friday. This week we take a look at some coding to celebrate the Hour of Code week. And so I'm just going to ask that you watch a couple of videos on your own. First, if you Google Hour of Code, it will take you to this lovely website. And if you scroll down, halfway down the page or so, you'll get to this video calling all teachers worldwide. And it's just a nice YouTube video that's pretty inspirational that talks about why you might want to add coding to your class no matter what subject that you teach. So I'd encourage you to watch that. You could show it to your kids, but basically just a short 2-minute video to kick off the Hour of Code week, which is this week. The other video that I want to call your attention to, if you just Google TED Talk, Mitch Resnick. This is how you spell Mitch Resnick. Awesome guy. This is a little bit dated TED Talk. It's, I think, back from like 2011, so it's a bit older, maybe 2013, I think. Anyways, Mitch Resnick, one of my personal heroes. He is a computer scientist at MIT. Came up with this awesome program called Scratch. Since then, it's been used around the world by millions of students, all the way from preschool to graduate level college courses to teach students how to code. And so in this TED Talk, he just talks about the reason that everybody should have some experience with coding regardless of what your future career might end up being, and that it's going to serve you well no matter what you end up doing. And so it's a 16-minute TED Talk. I'd encourage you to watch that also on your own. And then finally, what we're going to look at is the program that he created. It's called Scratch, and I know that when you first go here, if you just Google it, it'll be scratch.mit.edu. It may look a little childish when you go here, and you might think, well, I couldn't have my middle school, high school, college students do this kind of programming because it's too elementary-ish. I'll just tell you right now that a lot of universities, even some of the best Ivy League schools, use Scratch as their introductory computer science class. It's got a low floor, which means it's easy to get into for kindergartners, preschoolers, but it's also got a high ceiling, which means that you could be using this program all the way through your graduate computer science classes. So it's really powerful, but I think the visuals sort of cater to the beginner, which is okay. But I'm just going to challenge you all to consider allowing your students to do coding for their next assignment. So instead of maybe saying make a presentation about topic XYZ, I would encourage you guys to say maybe you could make a cartoon for XYZ. I'm also going to click on the show more activities here just to give you a sense of some more projects that your students could do with it. Obviously a cartoon is a really easy choice, and that one is Code a Cartoon. And then the other one that's I think also a nice choice is Animate an Adventure Game. So I would just challenge you. Could create a story. I mean, there's all sorts of things that you can do here, but just give your students a choice. Like this week is Hour of Code. For that reason, I'm going to go ahead and let you choose to code your project instead of making a presentation or writing a paper. Okay, and then you could actually continue to give that choice for the rest of the school year as well. So I don't expect you to do much teaching around this. The students can pick it up, and the way that I would again recommend that they do that is just from the Scratch homepage. They can just click on this Show More Activities button. And the two that we looked at in our face-to-face session was Coding a Cartoon, and these are Cartoon Network, I think, partnered with Scratch to make these characters so that you've got some characters to start with, which makes it more visually appealing. They've got sound effects and that sort of thing also. So when you click on these sort of tutorial projects, what they're going to do is give you a little movie that the kids can watch. And then there's actually some step-by-step instructions on how to build the project with those characters. So rather than you having to teach your kids how to do it, just show them how to get to this movie, and they can just simply hit this play button. and it's going to take them through how to make this particular project, and then after they've watched the movie, to go through the step-by-step instructions, they just click on these arrows, and it's going to basically teach the kids how to make a cartoon using Scratch characters, and they can shrink this at any point so that it's out of the way, and then when they get ready for the next step, they can just open that back up. And it's really easy for those of you that haven't used Scratch yet. You just drag these blocks out, and there's different all sorts of different things to do with it. And like I said, it's got a high ceiling. Can do some really advanced mathematical stuff, and I'll show you that in a second. But it's super easy. The thing that makes it so nice is that you don't have to have the syntax right in order for the program to work. And if you've done any programming, just getting the syntax correct is such a barrier that most people give up. And so this gives people a chance to be successful without having to know the syntax of the language, but teaches them the concepts. After you do some programming with this and you get the concepts, then it's pretty easy to jump into Python or JavaScript and type your program yourself. I do want to point out here in the lower left is this more types of programming that you can do, and so this pin tool is really awesome, especially for math teachers that want to do some geometry, plotting some slopes, that sort of thing. But all sorts of nice things. I use this pin tool a lot. A music teacher or anybody that wants to incorporate music might use these tools. The video sensing is a lot of fun. The text-to-speech is a partnership with Amazon, which is nice. And then the translation with Google is really nice. And you can even pick the speaker, so you can pick a native Spanish speaker to do your translation so that it sounds correct. So just remember that those are there, and that gives you, for example, pins. It gives you a whole new set of tools. I wish they just put these things out here for you to use by default, but you have to go down here and click this button to get to those extra tools. So that's one thing that you can do. Students would want to sign in order to be able to save the project. Real easy to do that. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the other one, so I'll go here to the tutorials again, which just takes me back to that screen that we were on. And then Animate an Adventure Game is the other one that I would encourage you to have kids looking at for a replacement for a regular classroom assignment. And it's very much like the cartoon, but it just teaches you how to keep score, get points, that sort of thing. So it's sort of the next step up from a cartoon. The cartoon doesn't need to keep score or anything. So just like the last one, as a teacher, you don't need to teach this to your students. They can just come and hit play.
With Scratch, you can animate an adventure game.
And this movie is going to take them through. And then after they watch the movie, they just click the arrows, and it's going to take them through the step-by-step instructions for each of the different characters that are in the game. And again, these are Cartoon Network drawn. They've got professional sounds. So you'll end up making a game that is visually pleasing instead of just using the stock clip art that comes with Scratch. And so again, you could just say, instead of making this report or this presentation, you could make a game in Scratch instead to demonstrate that you've learned the concepts that we taught in class. And in fact, Science Olympics, which is a Science Olympiad, which is a big national contest, I think international. One of the events for Science Olympiad is actually game programming with Scratch. So again, it's used widely if you're not familiar with it. I like it over some of the real canned programming ones because it's really open-ended. Some of these other canned things that you'll come across, an hour of code, are really canned, and they say make this character walk 5 steps forwards, make him turn right. I like to give the students a little bit more flexibility in the things that they're creating. So Anyways, this is Scratch. My challenge again for the Hour of Code week is to allow your students to do this as an alternative assignment, and I think you'll have some students that will prefer to do that, and maybe some other students that have never programmed before will give it a shot. But anyways, it won't hurt anything. Just like Mitch Resnick says, there's a good reason for everybody to learn a little bit of coding, just to develop that same sort of fluency that you have with all the other things that you do in life. Since we spend so much time on computers and on our phones and students playing games, why not let them see how the back end of that game works by allowing them to do a project with Scratch. That's it for this week's High Tech Friday. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. We'll catch you next week. Thanks.